Hey everyone, welcome back to Global Rights Voice. Today is Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, and we're talking about something really serious that's not getting nearly enough attention. The recent decision by the Trump administration to suddenly and drastically cut US foreign aid and the massive human cost that's already starting to unfold around the world. Now, I know foreign aid might sound like some abstract government policy thing, but let me break it down. These are the funds that go toward basic life-saving programs: healthcare, food, shelter, support for survivors of violence, and protection for people fleeing war or persecution. We're talking about millions of people, many of them already in extremely vulnerable situations: women and girls, refugees, survivors of sexual violence, who are now at even greater risk. So, what happened? Back in January 2025, President Trump signed an executive order called Reevaluating and Realigning United States Foreign Aid. What that really meant in practice was that a massive amount of US aid, pretty much overnight, was frozen, suspended, or straight up cancelled. And according to Amnesty International, it's had devastating consequences. They just released a report called Lives at Risk, and it's exactly that. Lives are literally on the line. Let's go through some examples Amnesty laid out. In Guatemala, programs that helped pregnant girls who had been raped, providing them with food, medical care, and counseling, have lost funding. In Haiti, services for child survivors of sexual violence and HIV prevention programs for women, girls, and LGBTQ+ communities have been slashed. South Africa, which has the world's largest HIV epidemic, saw major community outreach and care services for orphans and survivors of rape abruptly terminated. In Yemen, life-saving care for kids suffering from malnutrition or cholera has been shut down, and that's just the health impacts. There are also people being hit hard just for trying to find safety. In Afghanistan, more than half of the centers that helped displaced families, offering housing, food, and health referrals, have closed. In Costa Rica, shelters for people fleeing Nicaragua are scaling back or shutting down altogether. On the Haiti-Dominican Republic border, aid for deported families is drying up just as deportations from the US are expected to rise. In Thailand, clinics supporting refugees from Myanmar have closed down suddenly. Amnesty even reports preventable deaths already happening. Now, here's what's especially frustrating. When Secretary of State Marco Rubio was asked about this in Congress, he claimed there hadn't been any deaths linked to the aid cuts, despite strong evidence to the contrary. Amnesty and other groups have already documented cases, and there's clear modeling that shows these cuts could lead to a significant rise in preventable deaths. So why is this such a big deal? Besides the obvious moral argument, we're literally cutting off life-saving aid, it's also a legal one. The US is bound by international human rights law, which includes obligations to protect life, health, and the right to seek safety. These sudden and sweeping cuts violate all of that. And beyond international law, the way this was done, bypassing Congress and cutting off funds already approved, was chaotic and untransparent. It's part of a larger trend we've seen from this administration: pulling out of global commitments like the Paris Climate Agreement, the World Health Organization, the UN Human Rights Council. You get the idea. So what's Amnesty calling for? First, for the Trump administration to restore funding immediately, especially for programs where human rights are at stake. They also want any future changes to be handled transparently and with input from affected communities, not just handed down through executive order. Second, they're calling on Congress to step up, block any moves to make these cuts permanent, and use their oversight power to keep foreign aid aligned with human rights and humanitarian principles. And finally, they're urging all countries in a position to help to pitch in more to fill the gaps. There's this global commitment that wealthier nations should contribute at least 0.7% of their income to overseas aid. The US has never hit that target, and right now, we're not just falling short, we're actively pulling back. Here's the bottom line. US foreign aid is only about 1% of the federal budget. It's a tiny slice of the pie, but it plays a massive role in protecting lives, preventing crises, and supporting people in some of the most difficult situations imaginable. cutting it so abruptly and without any plan to protect those affected. It's not just bad policy, it's dangerous. As Amanda Clasing from Amnesty put it, it's a false choice to say we have to pick between helping people here at home and honouring our commitments abroad. We can and must do both. Thanks for watching. If this made you think, or if you learned something new, hit like, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment. We need more people talking and thinking about these issues, because silence only helps harmful policies like this stay in place. Take care for now.